Good morning, y'all. Hope y'all slept well. I know I did. Oh boy, did I. But it's early morning. We're on part 2 to the caramelized onions. But first, before we get started, most of you know, but some of you knew, oh Lord, I got a fly. Did y'all see that? I pulled out one of my ball books. Just because this is how I process my onions, always go to a ball book. That's your safe zone right there. I say it in every video that I do. I give you how Lippy does her recipe. It is by ball, but some of the ingredients I add, it's recommended, but you won't find the recipe in, say, this particular ball book. You may find it in another one. But you beginners out there, don't even begin to pressure can until you educate yourself with the ball book. All right, now that I said that and I feel so much better, I got to tell you what I did. All right, yesterday we looked at the 3-hour. We looked at the 6-hour. Remember, that 6-hour had reduced by half. And I was cooking it on, what did I say, about 225, wasn't it? Yeah, 225. Well, I added more onions once it cooked down because I'm working with a 6-quart roaster. My large roaster went out. But y'all, I totally forgot Nanny Joyce had just bought a new large roaster. And it was last night about 8 o'clock when Buddy's like, well, why didn't you go to the garage and get Mama's? Why? Because Lippy didn't think about it. So, Nanny Joyce, I know you're going to watch and you're going to be like, well, I had one out there. But anyway, at the 6-hour mark, and I cut the video off, I chopped up the rest of my onions, brought it back up, so I have a total of 15 pounds, estimated 15 pounds of the Texas sweet yellow onions, okay? You could have done this all at one time, but like I said, I was dealing with a 6-quart. They did exactly what I wanted them to do. They got the right color, the right smell. There's still juice. I will drop you down and show you. Now, when I say caramelized onions, this is just basic onions, and I only use that 1 stick of butter at the beginning. I didn't add any more butter. And the reason why I do mine like this is because it's so versatile. Now, some of you may want to make onion jam, onion soup. That uses up a lot of jars. What I do is I use 3/4 pints. I found this is the perfect measurement for how I use caramelized onions. And by doing that, I can just add this to my pot roast, whatever I need just onions for. Or if I wanted onion soup, I would open one of these, put it in a pot, add the Worcestershire, the garlic, cook it down. I've got onion soup. If I wanted to make onion jam, which the process is already done, I would bring a jar out. I would put it in my Ninja, chop it a little bit, add in the brown sugar, some balsamic vinegar, your flavor, some garlic. Cook it down 10, 15 minutes, you've got onion jam. So you see by the way I process this, then I've got 3 or 4 ways I can use this. So if I do a pot roast this winter and I only need half, I'm going to reserve the other half and I will cook it down into a jam, like a bacon jam. Mix the two, find you a good recipe. I have a recipe for it. And then we'll grill pork chops, steak, chicken, saute some mushrooms. So we have onion jam to go with that. Put it on burgers. So that's why I do a basic caramelized onion recipe. And then as I need something, it is right there. You know, it's kind of like it's prepped and ready to go to the next step. So I'm going to quit jaw jacking. I do have my canner sitting over here. I've got 3 quarts of water, a splash of white vinegar. What the white vinegar does, it helps keep the film off your jars. Now, I keep picking this up and I know y'all going to see this. This is a 3/4 inch pint jar. So I am going to process this as a pint, which is 75 minutes. Half pints is 70. But I do have a 1/2 teaspoon of canning salt. It is not required. It's the way Lippy does it. And that is your true canning salt. I don't use Himalayan salt, sea salt. I always preserve, whether it's water bathing, pickling, processing, I only use canning salt. But I do put a 1/2 teaspoon just for a lagniappe. That's it. All right, let's look at our onions. They're pretty. Look at these. Ooh. So we can say they cooked about, I'm going to go 19 hours. About 19 hours. Now, I could have let them go 24 and they would got really, really dark. But this is where I wanted them. All right, you can see pretty good here. Let me get my ladle out of the way. That's for my juice. I'm only going to do 1 or 2 jars for the sake of the video. And then I'll finish them up. And I like to drain the juice off as much as I can before I put them into the jars. Oh, these smell so good. The natural sweetness has come out of these onions. Now I'm going to take my chopstick. Most of you know I love my ivory chopstick. It's been my debubbler for many years. I think I've sent quite a few out to different ones. Make sure I didn't overfill. I want to leave about a 1/2 inch of headspace. I'm going to take this off so you can see up close. I'm going to mash back down. And I'm using a bar mat, a rubber bar mat, because that allows me to kind of tap my jars. And it's easy cleanup. I love this bar mat. I've had it a couple of years. Matter of fact, I think it was Wanda that I first saw use a bar mat, if I'm not mistaken. All right, that's exactly where I want it to be because I'm going to add some juice. I'm going slow so you guys can see how I do this. Normally I have the radio going. There we go. I was about right. I figured about 1 ladle. Perfect. That is perfect. Now I'm going to put my rim on. Try to get down in the center. Now, no bubbles. All right, let's get the rim on. Let me get my vinegar over here and my rag. Y'all, it is so early morning. I'm going to tell you what, it is. Now, you can use a paper towel. I have about 6 of these rags that I use strictly for my canning. Matter of fact, I'll show you how I store all of my rags and covers and cheesecloths for my canning. All right. You really want to make sure this rim is wiped well because of the sugars that's in the onions. And it also allows me to be able to make sure I haven't missed a nick in the jar. Because if you have a nick in the jar, you're subject to have failure. All right, there's 1. Now I'm only gonna go finger tight. That's it. I'm not gonna crank down. That's 1. Let's go to the next one. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the camera and it's hard. Y'all know I'm left-handed. I should have put y'all on that side. Here we go. Looks like it's going to be another scorcher today. But I'm not planning on doing a whole lot. I've already been to the garden, already harvested. So that's all taken care of. Everything's been watered. Rabbit's been fed. Chickens are doing their thing. Today is bed linens. I always do bed linens on Mondays. I'm just telling y'all everything that I do, huh? You know, everybody has their way. This is just Lippy's way. But if you don't have a bar mat, oh my gosh, you got to get you one. Feels good. All right, let's get another. Now, years ago, you would have to, no, I won't use that one. I'll use that for something else because it dropped. If I put my glasses on, I could see. Now, years ago, these flats would have been put in warm water. Nowadays, they're not recommended to do that. Okay, we ended up with 10 3/4 size pint jars. Okay, I want to show y'all something. This gasket here, I do change my gasket every year because I use my pressure canner often. Now, I do reserve last year's just in case there's a failure. I can go back to it. But every time I pressure can, I check my gasket and I take a little bit of olive oil and I will run around this ring and then in the crease to make sure that I have a good seal. So like I said, I'm going to process these for 75 minutes as you would do a pint jar. An old ball book used to say 90 minutes. Now, recommendations is 75 for pints, 70 for half pints. So, we're going to get the lid on. I'm going to turn you over here and show you. And this is the toughest part. You got to make sure you've got it right. And I always mash down. Here we go. Now. And what that does, that helps to ensure. So I'm going to bring some heat to it. I had it on about a 3. Hot jars went into warm water. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to see some steam. And I'll bring you back and we're going to count 10 minutes only at a heavy steam. Remember I'd show you how I store my cannon towels, my flour sack towels? Well, I keep them in this large tote in the pantry. And they stay dust-free. I bleach them. These are just like bar rags, guys. Had them forever. Some of them are more tattered, as you can see, than others. But this is just, it makes me feel more comfortable. Lightweight. Keeps me sane. All right, I hear the noise. Nothing's happening yet. But we're going to see it together. Okay, you can hear it and you can see a little bit of bubble. A little bit of steam. But we are not there. We need consistent steam. 10 minutes. You can see it. 10 minutes. It needs to steam before I add my weight. And of course I'm using a 10-pound weight because of my altitude. It's 11 pounds is what you're looking for. But I run my pressure canner between 10 and 11 pounds of pressure. But actually the recommendations now is 11 pounds. It's very hard to get 11 pounds. But you can stay between the 10 and 11. So, 10 minutes. Weight goes on. I'll show you that step. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. We're putting the weight on. The tattler in the back, which is this button, has come up. I already know that my canner pressure cans on a number 6 to keep between a 10 and 11 pound. So I've got mine sitting at a number 6. I do not start off high and crank down. I allow it to bring to pressure where my sweet spot is on my stove. And that's where you guys have to learn what your stove's going to do. Just because mine's a 6, yours may process at a number 4. Each stove is different. Okay, you can see we immediately went to 3, oh, let me get the camera. We immediately went to 3 pounds. Just that fast. So it doesn't take long. And we're looking at the 10 pound of pressure, and that little black dot right there is your 11 pound mark. So I stay between those. See it climbing? Okay, do you see what the jiggler is doing? Remember, I can on, for my altitude, 10 pounds. The 10 pound weight. If you look, the jiggler starts dancing at the 10 pound mark. So now we go to the 60 minutes. Timer goes off. I move it to 15 more minutes. We're on our way. It's a getting it. I love the sound because you can learn the sound. If you don't have a pressure counter that has this gauge, you just pay attention to your weight. If it's doing like a crazy dance, you got too much pressure going. If it's barely moving, it's too low. You want a steady, I don't know, like a hula hooper dancer, you know? It's got its sweet mood, I promise. It's doing its thing. See y'all in 75 minutes. We've been going about 15 minutes. And you see the little rock? And we're maintaining pressure. 75 minutes is up. And we're not going to do anything. We turn the heat off the stove. And now we walk away. Till this stops. This reaches 0 pressure. And the tattle is down. But I'll show you once it's completely done. I'm holding out to see if y'all hear. There's already ping, but we are sitting at 0 pounds of pressure. The rattler is not moving. Jiggler, excuse me. And the tattler has gone down. Now it is safe to take the lid off. Okay. You definitely want to turn the lid away from your face when that steam comes up. Whoops. Ping, ping. That's music to my ears. And there you have 10 beautiful jars. And do you see how the onions have darkened from being processed? So they continue to cook. Now, I do leave, I think the camera can pick it up, I do leave an inch or better between my jars, okay? You don't want your jars touching. And I cover mine. One, it's cold in the house, it's about 71 degrees. And these just come out of a very hot pressure canner. And 2, if there is some sort of failure, okay? I know that when glass breaks, it's sitting on it's called a dish mat, and I have it wrapped in this so the glass doesn't shatter. And it's gonna stay just like this for 24 hours. I wanna show you down in the pot. As you can see, we didn't have much evaporation of the water. I could add about 1 quart and it would bring me back up to my 3 quart mark. But you see, the water is not cloudy. This is an indicator that we had no spillovers in the jars. So there you go. I'm excited. That's behind me. Now, I got about 15 more onions to dice and put in freezer bags. But the linen is done. Let's see, the floors are done, vacuumed and mopped. The bathroom's done, and I just finished polishing. What time is it? Let's see. It's 12:30. Not too bad. Got a lot done in a short time. All right, y'all. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and God bless. Try the recipe. I think you're going to like it. Yes, it's ice water time.